Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I share how to cook goat meat stew without using tomatoes. So now let's begin. So for this recipe I'm using goat meat, of course, and I prefer the male goat because it cooks faster and it is very flavorful as well. To season it, I'll use some chopped onions, some grated garlic and ginger, some bouillon cubes, some salt, curry and thyme. To begin, I'll add the washed goat meat into a clean pot. Then I'll season with the bouillon cubes, thyme, curry, onion, garlic and ginger, and some salt as well. These are all the aromatics I just showed you earlier. So I'm going to add that, stir everything up, and then cover for it to steam for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes, the meat is going to release its own moisture, which will help our goat meat to be even more flavorful. So stir everything in properly and then cover so it can do its thing. For the stew base, I'll be using some red bell pepper, some Scotch bonnet pepper, and some onions. I'll blend one of the onion with the bell peppers and then fry the other one in a hot oil for the stew when I'm about to start cooking the stew. I'm also going to use one seasoning cube and some salt if necessary, and you'll also need some oil for frying. So now, instead of blending this straight up, I'm going to roast the bell peppers in the oven to get that smoky flavor from it instead of the regular sweetness it comes with. This stage is very important for this recipe, so please do not skip it. So I'm going to deseed the bell peppers, cut and place them in a tray, and then with the roast setting, I'm going to roast this for 30 minutes on 250 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. The roast setting in my oven is usually very hot, so I use that. I'm also going to be roasting the onions and the peppers as well. Here I'm portioning into another tray so they all have even distribution of heat. So 10 minutes later, I check on the meat and you can see there's a bit of liquid in the pot already. So at this point, I'm going to add just enough water to cook the meat, stir and cover to cook until it is done. So this was 30 minutes later. I check and the meat was cooked. I'm going to scoop it out now, sieve the stock and set it aside for later use. Like I said, this is male goat meat. It does not take long to cook. It's not as stubborn as the female goat meat. Yeah, so I'm going to scoop it out of the stock and save it for later. If you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please click the subscribe button. It is free of charge. They don't charge you for it, and turn your notification bell on as well. Don't forget to click the like button. Please click the like button. It helps my video out a whole lot. Thank you. So this was about 40 minutes later, and this is what you're looking for. You want it to be smoky. You're going to be perceiving that smoky aroma from it. So now I'm going to pop it in a blender and blend until it is smooth. Next, I'll fry the meat, and to do that, I'll add some oil into the pot. Once it heats up, I then go ahead and fry the meat. This meat was crisp on the outside but very moist on the inside. Can you imagine that combo? Yummy! So I'm going to scoop that out once it reaches my desired texture and fry the remaining batch as well. Once I'm done frying, I'm going to pour out the oil and then add the quantity of oil I'm going to use to cook the stew back into the pot. Whenever I'm making stews, generally, I like to fry the stew with good amount of oil and then scoop it out after cooking because I need the stew to fry and not kind of boil. So while I'm waiting for the oil to heat up, I'm going to slice the remaining onion and fry it in a hot oil for about a minute before adding the pepper mix. The pepper mix is looking very thick because we roasted it before blending. So I'm going to go in with a spatula and scrape off anything that is left in the blender. But of course, I didn't stop there. I added a little bit of water, shake, and poured it into the stew as well. I kind of like that because it helped to loosen the stew a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stir. Once everything is properly combined and loosened, I'll cover and allow to simmer on very low heat. In fact, I had my gas to my lowest setting, all right, and I was checking very frequently so it does not burn. This was like 2-3 minutes into the frying. I'm going to go back now and stir. You don't want to go too far away from this at all. This is not the time to go and do apropos things. You want to stay by this stew and keep stirring, otherwise it's going to burn. So I kept going in to stir every 2-3 minutes for the next 20 minutes. Once I see oil start to flow to the top of the stew just like this, then I add the meat stock. Remember the meat stock we saved earlier? I added it now. Give it a good stir, and at this point you want to taste for seasoning or salt to see if you need more. I thought I needed one more seasoning cube, so I added that. Give it a quick mix so the stew can continue to fry for the next 15-20 minutes. See, I want you to promise me one thing, only one thing, that you're going to sew the garment of patience anytime you're making stew. That is all you need. Just have patience and you have a delicious stew, okay? So this was like 15 minutes later. I went in and stirred. You know we like to turn things on this channel, so I'll go and stir. Then at this point I'll go ahead and add the fried goat meat, and then I'll stir again. Yeah, at this point I tasted and I thought I needed a little bit more salt, so I drizzled in a little bit of salt, and at this point it was just perfecto. You guys, we had this with yam that evening, and oh my god, delicious. The smokiness of the bell pepper was coming through. The flavor from the goat meat was banging. You guys, this stew was hitting the rice pot, period. So at this point you see all the oil floating to the top of the pot. Now I'm going to skim it off and then use it for any recipe that calls for vegetable oil. You can use it to make stew the next time you're making stew. You can use it to fry eggs. You can use it to make beans and so many good stuff. Okay, so yeah, I skimmed that off and you can see how much I got, so I'm going to save that. I also transferred the stew into another pot for presentation purposes. You know, I just thought the stew was halfway into the other pot, so that was why I transferred it to this other pot. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this recipe when you try it, and please don't forget to subscribe and share. And yeah, that will be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one. Bye.